Snow. Living in the Midlands of the UK, it's rare we get to see any. But as a landscape photographer that only really gets to shoot at weekends, it often seems an even rarer weather occurrence. So when I saw predictions during the week for snow at Cannock Chase at the weekend, I just knew I had to make the effort and mildly sketchy drive to Cannock Chase to try and capture a winter wonderland. Having spotted a few Scots pines on a previous visit 2 years ago, I knew the exact spot I wanted to head to. One sketchy hour later, I arrived to be treated to what I can only describe as perfect Christmas card conditions. So I've arrived here at Cannock Chase, in particular the Brindley Heath area. It's an area I don't come to very often. I'm normally up Brockton Copus, but I came to this area a couple of years ago to shoot some fungi, and I noticed these Scots pines here, and I always thought to myself, if it snows, which it has been, as you can see, if it snows, to come back and shoot these Scots pines, because there's something about Scots pines in the snow that just looks majestic. It really does. And yeah, it's looking beautiful this morning. If I was to complain, which I will do because I'm a landscape photographer, I just wish there was a little bit more snow to make this ground a bit cleaner. But it is what it is, and we're going to work with what we've got. I have taken 2 images so far of these Scots pines. Basically, I've gone for a wider sort of landscape shot, if you like, of this main Scots pine, one in the background over here, which has just got enough fog at the moment to give a little bit of separation, a little bit of depth to the image. And there's also one just sort of poking up below the sort of ridge line here on the left hand side. So it's basically putting this main central one in the centre and having it supported by 2, one either side of it, which looks really quite nice. And as I say, we have got a bit of fog at the moment as well, just giving that level of depth to the scene, which is really quite nice. Then I have taken another composition as well in a portrait orientation of just these 2 on the right hand side. I'll probably crop it down to either a square crop or a 4x5 because I don't like my portraits to be too elongated. But yeah, it should work out to be quite nice. What I do also quite like is that, and this is one of the things that really draws me to Scots pines, is the way the snow just kind of clings to it, just giving that really wintry feel. Just one word of caution: if you are doing landscape photography in the snow, always overexposure image by sort of 0.7 to 1 exposure points to make sure that the snow itself is not looking all sort of grey and washed out, because the camera has a habit in snow of basically thinking that the scene is too bright if you're in the snow. So it kind of recommends that you shoot at a lower exposure, which is not what you want because it just looks muddy and dirty and horrible. So yeah, I've overexposed in this scene by over 1 stop, and yeah, it's looking nice on the back of the camera. Just obviously make sure you watch your highlights because you don't want to blow those out, because you cannot recover those very easily. But yeah, nice couple of images to start the morning off. I'm going to walk around here for a bit now and see what other photos I can find. Oh, it's hard work walking around here this morning, I must say. I've walked a good distance that way and kind of circled back round to pretty much where I started. The first shot I was taking was just over there somewhere. But yeah, I'm reshooting the same Scots pine that I was shooting a short while ago because it's beautiful, to be honest with you. And by coming sort of round sort of 90 degrees, about 100 meters from where I last took the shot, I've got quite a nice composition framed up here. So you can see the main Scots pine there I've got. He's pretty much on the right hand third, and then also there's some what I could believe could be silver birch, although I can't really tell because my eyes are that blurry with the water. On the left hand side, kind of leading in to another what I believe to be an oak in the background, which is plastered in snow. It's got some lovely shape to it. So yeah, That's pretty much on the left-hand side of the image, and then obviously the Scots pine on the right-hand side. And you'll notice that I've got the camera here quite low, and that's to try and get some separation with the bottom branches of the Scots pine against the ridgeline in the background there. So it's looking quite nice on the back of the camera. One thing I've had to do is the actual whole background there is on a bit of a slope, a bit of a slant. So I've actually placed the camera in such a way that actually the camera's slightly tilted, but it's making the horizon look straight. It just looks a bit more balanced in my eye. So yeah, I'm really quite happy with this. Let me pop it on screen for you. And then I'm going to try and frame up a composition with that oak there that's plastered in snow with my telephoto lens on. So yeah, while you take a look at this image, I'll frame that up. So I hope you enjoyed that image. I have now put my 100 to 400 on, and I'm at 400mm on that oak in the background there. Again, I believe it's an oak, I can't really tell from here, but it is looking beautiful on the back of the camera, really wintry. I'm placing that on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, some of the trees have caught a lot of this snow, so it's looking really quite wintry. It's a real nice basic scene, so it's all about that oak on the left-hand side, snow on the right-hand side. Actually shot really. So I'm going to pop it on screen for you now. I think what I'm going to do, because I'm looking over there now towards where Brockton Copus would be, there's a lot more fog just a little bit higher up. So I might walk back down to the car, take a slow but steady drive up towards Brockton Copus, try and make the most of these conditions that we've got, because as beautiful as this is around here, I just think I'm going to get more opportunities for some decent photos up by Brockton Copus this morning. Okay, so we had a little bit of a sketchy drive here. It weren't too bad, just a bit slippy in places. What really annoys me with Cannock Chase, and I'm sure a lot of you will agree with me on this, is the safari people. And if you don't know what I mean by that, it's the people that drive down the main sort of Copus road here with their cameras and their telephoto lenses, and they just drive and stop wherever they want on these really skinny tracks just to try and photograph deer. Park your car, get out your car, and go for a walk and try and shoot the deer. Don't do it while you're in your car. It's not a safari, especially when the roads are like this today. You know, such skinny roads, still on the bloody roads, trying to get past these people, you know, when the snow is there. Just get out and walk, you lazy gits. Anyway, moan over. At Brockton Copus, and I've got a composition here which I've seen before, never actually shot it because I was waiting for the right conditions. I wouldn't say we've got the right conditions today. I would like a bit of fog in the background just to soften this scene, but we've got the snow, which is a nice little element here. So as you can see, it's a beautiful specimen. It's a silver birch tree, but it's got these twisted branches going left and right and everywhere and swirling round, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And with the snow that we've got today, it's really accentuating those shapes as well. I've taken two compositions. I've taken a landscape orientation one, and I've taken a portrait one. The landscape photo is incorporating this branch here on the far left-hand side. It sweeps round into the main tree there in the background, and I've been very careful with the positioning of the branches here. So I've made absolutely minute adjustments to the position of the camera. I've moved slightly left, moved slightly right, moved back, moved forward to make sure the branches aren't intersecting where I don't want them to. It's a lot of trial and error, I spent probably about 15-20 minutes here already trying to frame it up, but I think I've got a couple of compositions that do work quite nicely. So yeah, this landscape shot, I'm cutting out some of this sort of foreground here. There's these sort of branches that have come down in the sort of in the snow here, and basically cutting that off, and I've got just the main part of the tree there, placing the sort of main trunk, if you like, on the right hand third, and then you've got this coming from the left hand third. There's a bit of dead space down the bottom right hand side here, but it's not too bad. I think I can probably work that in post a little bit. And then the portrait orientation shot, it's just cutting off the sides really and making sure I've got no sky in the frame, and making actual use of these sort of branches here that are sort of resting in the snow, using that as a bit of a lead into the main sort of branch here and then the main trunk in the background. It's really, really quite nice. I'll put both on screen. I think I'm preferring the landscape shot, but let me know which one you prefer. Just to explain as well, what I'm doing is when I walked up to this scene here, I could see there was sort of this pristine snow. So I made sure I made a big wide arc as I walked round to it, making sure that I don't step in the composition at all, because the last thing I want is any footprints here. I could remove them in post, but I'd rather not have to. So yeah, let me put both of these shots on screen for you now. As I say, I think I'm preferring landscape, but let me know what you think. For a reason I don't figure out until later in the day, I don't think this scene worked in the snow. I didn't account for the snow on the branches blending into the snow on the floor. I tried my hardest to resolve this by dodging and burning around the tree branches, but to me, it still doesn't look quite right. I'll chalk this up to a learning experience and revert back to my opening statement, which is, being based in the Midlands in the UK, I don't have much opportunity to photograph in the snow. Well, at least that's my excuse. No trip to Brockton Copus is complete without a visit to the dancing trees. You just have to shoot them, and when you've got conditions like this, you especially have to shoot them. Apparently, I've just met this other guy, sorry I didn't catch his name, but apparently I'm a bit of a good luck charm, because I've actually brought the mist with me. So I've taken a couple of shots here. I've taken a wider scene of the dancing trees, again being really, really careful with the placement of each branch within the scene. Moving back and forth, left and right. I spent a good probably 20 minutes trying to frame it up actually. And I went for a wider scene at the suggestion of this guy again, whose name I can't remember. Well, we'll put it on screen. I will get it from him and I will put it on screen. Actually incorporating these silver birch on the left hand side. Now normally when I come here, I try to cut those out of the frame completely because I find them a bit of a distraction. But he suggested, well, why don't you potentially go wider and actually incorporate another silver birch? And actually by doing that, it does add an extra element to the scene that I do really quite like. It's a 16:9 crop, just to cut out a little touch of the sky there. And yeah, it works out really quite nice. And then I have gone for a tighter crop, really of the sort of the main sort of 4 or 5 characters here. Obviously this is an immediate one, and the 2 in the background doing a bit of a dab. And then this one on the right hand side. Someone's placed a wreath on the tree. I'm in 2 minds whether to keep it in or take it out. I'm not sure, we'll see. But yeah, I'll put both of these shots on screen for you. What I am going to do now is I'm going to head down towards what everyone seems to call my tree for some unknown reason. It's a tree, I do like it, and I've photographed it a few times. But we're going to have a look at that because I think in the snow it should look fantastic, especially with the fog as well. So let me put these 2 on screen for you now, and I'll see you down there. Unfortunately, Steve couldn't make it out with us today, so I thought I'd make a Pseudo-Steve So, Pseudo-Steve, what do you think of this morning? Good conditions? Yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic. I was hopeful for a bit of snow, but the addition of the fog is fantastic. So what would you say has been the biggest challenge this morning? I'd have to say my knees are killing me. But aside from that, the raindrops on the lens. I'm constantly having to wipe my camera. It's been tricky to get separation in the branches too. Spending a lot of time on the compositions. That whole artist versus engineer thing again. I definitely feel like an artist this morning. Yeah, I've been struggling with that as well. Really trying to fine tune those images, just trying to get the sort of separation between the branches is really quite difficult. I think, to be honest with you though, Steve, sometimes you can get a bit too sort of carried away with that and sometimes just accept some of the imperfections that are in the woodland. So Steve, I think I might head down now towards my tree, see if we can try and find some compositions down there. You coming with me? All right, mate, let's go. Made it down to what Steve calls my trees. I'm not going to shoot them today though. The fog, as I come down here, is lifted, and for this scene to work, you do need that fog to clear that background up. And also, I'm finding as well with the snow that's actually on the branches is blending into the snow on the floor, so it just ruins it completely, unfortunately. So yeah, it is what it is. But as I was walking down, I thought to myself, it's almost a year since I first took this shot on a foggy morning with Steve, and I absolutely love that shot. One of my favourite shots of last year. I'll put that on screen for you just to remind you. But yeah, no point in shooting it today. I'll come back another time. So those trees are a bit further down the hill, just coming out of the cloud base. I've noticed looking across the valley, we have got a cloud base, which I think if I go back up to where I was shooting earlier, hopefully we'll still get some fog up there. So let's go and see if we can get more shots. So as I suspected, I've just started to come back up the hill, and I haven't come far, and I'm now in the base of the cloud, and the fog, as you can see, is starting to build up a little bit more around me. I have already walked past these trees once today. I shot them so many times in the past, and I wasn't going to bother, but I thought, well, I'm here. It's not very often I get to see it in snow, so I thought I'd grab a quick shot. Placing the main oak here on the right-hand side, just there. On the bottom right-hand third, then it all arch over into the left-hand. Really nice balanced scene. If I could complain one bit, I'd like a bit more snow just to clean it up a little bit, but again, it is what it is. Still, a nice shot. I'll pop it on screen, then I'll head back up the hill and find another composition. But I will say this, I'm knackered now. I've been out since 6 this morning, it's now nearly 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So yeah, it's been a long day. So yeah, if we don't get any more shots on the way back, it's fine. But I would like to try and find one more, something a little bit unique that I've not found in Cannock Chase before. So let's go and have a look. Blimey, absolutely drenched. Well, that was a fantastic day out. Really enjoyed it, really needed it. But yeah, I didn't get any more shots on the way back, but still, as I say, I've had a fantastic day, I really have. I think I've got quite a few nice images, and what a great way to start the year. So yeah, I think we're going to end it anyway. Got about an hour's drive back home. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please consider hitting the thumbs up, and if you really enjoyed it, it'd help if you subscribe to the channel. But yeah, I just want to say thank you very much for watching. Happy New Year, and see you on the next one.